Are you guys on mute? I can't hear you.
Yeah, we're on mute.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for being here.
Technically, I don't have to do that again, so
Technically,
I'll
don't.
just start with the last paragraph. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by open meeting law. With that, I'll take attendance. Chris Sullivan?
Here.
Anita Shipers?
Here.
Colleen Shapiro?
Here.
Karen Menard?
Here.
I'm Onalaka, I'm here, and we also have with us Chris Ruth and Angela, who are our town employees. All right, Facilities Director and Recreation Director, update.
I guess I'll go first. So big one, in all, we saw it today, but the landscapers have finally started cleanups everywhere, including the fields. I had talked to them because of, well, several reasons, but the main one was making sure we were ready for opening day for Little League and all the fields look good. So they're working on that. Speaking of Little League, another thing that came up this week is, we had a couple people reach out to us because of the flooding over at Fitzgerald Field, third base dugout. A couple
Of the softball or the baseball?
of baseball field.
Okay.
A couple of people reached out and asked if it was okay if they added some gravel to it. Said, go ahead, that's fine. I've also started the conversation with conservation, the agent in town here, as to if there's anything we can do to clean up that stream. And
Okay.
'cause I think the stream is just clogged up, which is why it's flooding. But it's been a persistent issue the last couple of years, and this year, I'm sure everyone knows it hasn't stopped raining much, so. So we're looking into that. Over at McNally, some teenagers destroyed one of the old picnic benches that was pretty much gone already. So that's been removed. There's still one out there. I figured I would just mention that to you guys. And also the baseball program, I'm not sure if it was TJ or whoever else was involved, but they got some volunteers to do some repairs to the snack shack and the softball field. So they redid the roof and they're reinforcing the railing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they did it all at no cost to the town, so
Yeah.
greatly appreciated when they do that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Over by, it was JP Doherty construction, is the
Is that-
guys that did the work.
That was the
Oh.
noise I heard the other day.
That was the noise stripping off the 3 or 4 layers of roof. And
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's the, just what's being used as a storage shed now with the
Yeah, the upper level,
announcing.
yeah.
I think they're using it as a snack shack.
We're using it as a snack shack.
Really?
We started last year, yeah.
Really?
Well, they've done repairs, yeah.
Okay.
Those were the highlights that I had. I'm sure Angela has quite a bit more.
Well, can we ask, how about the irrigation on the fields? Have you turned around? I know it's been raining, I just wanna know, like,
The water's turned on to Marshall, the irrigation is not.
okay,
And we had to do that to get water to the snack shack at Howell Field, which runs off the irrigation system.
okay.
The meters for McNally is not in yet. We'll be doing that shortly, but
Okay,
again, we don't need it quite yet.
right, it's just,
Pretty much.
it's one of those things that like, we didn't do it and then we lost the notion that we could do it, and for a few years, I think baseball was playing without it,
Yeah, well, McNally last year had a bunch of heads that were ripped out, which is why it wasn't working.
yeah.
We probably would have been turning them all in this week, but the forecast is for 27 degrees tonight, so we're trying to
Yeah,
limit risk.
no, definitely, okay. Does anybody have any questions for Chris? Okay. Angela, what do you got for us?
So we definitely have a busy summer coming up. So starting in May, I started some more programs and activities that we'll be running. So next Wednesday's the first one. That's a program we offered for free. So that's the Books with Bunnies that we partnered with Good Pick and Farm on. So we have a good amount of registration so far. There's definitely still room in there, so we can take more. I did rent chairs again just to make sure the parents can sit, everything like that. So that is all set for next Wednesday. The following week, we're starting that youth resin art program. So it's a 4-week program. We offered a K through 5th grade one, and then we offered like another session for 6th through 8th. So they would just be running back to back. We don't have any registrations for the 6th to 8th grade right now, which the art owner was actually really surprised at. I guess that's typically the more popular group, but we do have 9 registrations for the K through 5. So I'll probably send out another email blast this week, just to try to get some more participation in that. And then I don't have anything going on really till June as of right now. That one we also offered for free. That's a STEM event. They basically come in, they'll do like a read along thing with the kids and science experiments. So that one we still have time for. I think we have about 14 registrations for that, but there's no cap limit really on how many kids that we can get to come. So that one's also a free program that we're offering. Other than that, after that, we do take a little bit of a break until after 4th of July, at least for the programs that aren't related to the beach. So we have the basketball program running the week after the 4th of July. That one we do separate into the 2 age groups as well. So that one we have 2 registrations for in total. It's kind of lower numbers right now, but usually they'll run that one with like 6 to 8 kids. And then we have the Snapology coming the week after. So they offer full day and half day options. So you could either do the morning, the afternoon, or a full day for that. Right now we only have full day and we have 4, which is pretty good for having a full day activity. There is usually, they probably would do like a minimum around 7 or 8 kids for that. So I will do another email blast for that as well. We have Best Soccer. I did ask the athletic director about using the turf field. He seems to say like nobody else is using it, so it should be fine. But I wasn't aware they do a system where I have to basically check with Eric, I think, about using it.
With
So-
who?
Eric,
What-
the school.
They
Yeah,
use,
Well, last
National
year,
Library.
we were told we only had to work with the athletics director. I mean, we
I'm
do
not
have
sure. I had to fill something out online and it was like pending when I last checked, so I'll reach out to Eric just to make sure everything's okay with that. But according to the athletic director, we should have full use of the field for that week.
If you need any help, please let us know.
Yeah, I definitely will.
All right, that's awesome.
And then,
That's
yeah,
great.
and just making sure that they're all aware that we'll need I usually had the key to the bathroom for the week, I believe. So, me and Chris just passed it back and forth last year. Cause obviously we want the bathrooms to be unlocked there. So that's just another thing to keep in mind with them. We're still pending some of the dates for the Nashua River Water Association. We know which week we want to run it, but I'm just not sure which of the 3 days. Like we did last year, we did I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for that. So we're just not sure which 3 days we'd be running that. So I don't have any registrations for that. It's not open yet. That would be like the last week of July into the first week of August.
Oh, nice.
And then we just have 2 more weeks after that. So they're both the multi-sports program for MA sports leagues. So the first week is definitely the most popular. It's the ages 8 through 12. So we have 8 registrations for that one already. And then we have about 2 or 3 for the younger kids, which is ages 5 to 7. We're definitely getting the registrations to come in. I keep doing email blasts. I do have to make flyers for some of them that are later in the summer. I just kind of want to take care of the ones that we had going on first. The town beach is probably the bigger up in the air thing right now for me. So I did post the memberships. We're getting slow amounts of memberships coming in. Right now it's only like the family ones. So I don't have any individual. I don't have any of the senior passes sold yet. So I'll also have to do another email blast for that. And then I know you said you had on the agenda the lifeguard and stuff like that, so we can talk about that
Yeah,
after.
you can give us an update. On
Okay,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we've had definitely more applications come in within the last week and a half, which is great. Some people, no experience, no Red Cross certification, things like that. So we definitely need to get that set beforehand. I did make them all aware, especially the ones that came in for interviews. I gave them a list of the dates that they're offering that course to be done. So hopefully they get back to me on that. I did have one person not show for their interview. I tried to follow up and call and I didn't get a response. So I'm definitely still looking for more applications to come in. We have one of the siblings for one of our current lifeguards coming in. So he has his certifications already done. So I'm just trying to have him come in for an interview, just talk to him for a little bit, get more information about that. And then I had an application come in for one person. She's in college, so she won't be back here until mid-May. But she has her certifications up to date as well.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah, so
awesome.
I just haven't had her in for an interview, because she's obviously not in the state right now. So I'll have that done shortly. Just another thing to note with that is, so anyone teaching, well, not teaching the swim lessons, but if there's swim lessons being taught at the beach, they have to have somebody be WSI certified for them to run the lessons. So right now, Liz is the only one who is certified in WSI. So she has to be present for any and all swim lessons being done. So this ran into a bit of an issue with the Saturday ones because she could not be there every single Saturday, which typically we do depending on the summer, but like I think it's like 8 weeks usually of, every Saturday during the summer, and she can't commit to being there for all of those. So that does run into an issue where unless somebody will get WSI certified, which I hope we can convince, one of the lifeguards from last year to do so, that plans on being there every Saturday, we won't be able to run Saturday swim lessons unless we find somebody that's certified.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Anybody has any questions for Angela?
If you wanna send me the art program, I'm happy to share that or post that or whatever. I didn't see it on the Parks Facebook page, but.
Yeah, I can do that.
You can send that, if you wanna send that to us or whatever, I'm happy to. Well, and that goes for at any time, I'm happy to post. Anything that needs to be advertised or drum up participation on any of the pages for you, just to.
Yeah.
Put them out there.
Thank you, that would be great.
Yeah, if we share these things privately from like our personal accounts, it gets a different distribution than when you do it as from the parks. And with that, we don't always see it. Like sometimes I go to the parks page and I check it. So if you make it as a habit, whenever you have them, just to
Yeah.
blast it out to the other commissioners, I'm sure, you don't all have to share, but when we share, it will probably help distribute to a different group than the ones that you're seeing from your post.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do try to do like at least one email blast a week with all the programs, which I did mention this one, but I did its own email blast just specifically for the art course. And then I had 9 registrations come in within like 3 days. So yeah, I'll try to do more of those. It's just a little time consuming sometimes, but
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, thank you. If people don't have anything for Angela, I'm gonna let Angela go. But I was gonna ask Chris to stay for just a few more topics. Is that okay, Chris? All right. Well, Angela, thank you so much.
thank
And I hope
you.
you have a good night.
Thank
You
you.
too. Have a good night. Bye.
So if the group is okay, I'm just gonna invite TJ to come up. We have a couple of things there on the agenda that he brought up, so I just figured we would have a conversation. So TJ, for the record, if you could identify yourself.
Used to this process now. TJ Laughlin, 207 Rolling Acres Road, Vice President of the Youth Baseball Softball League in town.
All right, so let's start with the fun one. TJ suggested, and I thought it was a great idea, to perhaps the current T-ball field in Marshall to repurpose as a dog park. And I can tell you that I do drive by Marshall and I go there, and very, very, very often, more often than not, there are people letting their dogs run on Paul Field.
Yes.
And and it's, you know, it's problematic because now the dogs, the kids are playing. And even if they can't pick up after the dogs feces do have a bacteria that if kids touch it and they put it in their face, it can cause a kid to become blind. And baseball, you are touching the ground quite a bit versus, you know, just soccer that you're kicking. So I thought it was an interesting idea because they are using school street for T-ball, and asked TJ today how it was going, and he said it was going really, really well.
Yeah,
And then by giving a place for maybe people to use it as a dog park, like, you know, please welcome here, I think we can then be more, when I drive there and I see someone, I'm more inclined to say something. So I don't know, TJ, do you have any other thoughts or?
no, it's fenced in and, yeah, we're really not using it, so I just thought there's no use, right? And so put it to use somehow, you know, if we can.
That's a great idea. I've seen people using the softball field, I've seen
Baseball.
people using the fields in front of the school. I've seen people letting their dogs.
What would need to be
Right,
done
there's
fence
no
wise,
fence.
because we have a fence that's damaged over there?
It's just the top rail of the
Yeah,
fence.
we could just
We
pull that
could, we could
out.
pull that top rail out.
Yeah.
And I think the only other thing needed would be, there's a sign that says no dogs. We just replace the sign.
Actually, we will
Just a piece
say,
of tape over, no, just.
Dogs.
Get rid of the,
yeah,
That's how it should
then,
be.
and I don't know if we should, if there's a way that we can start maybe putting more locks on those gates to just really create an extra deterrent.
You can't, cause there's gaps in the fence. You could always get in.
Right, it's more about like putting ADT signs in front of your house and never turn on the alarm kind of thing, just really.
Have cameras there. If we were to do that as a dog park, is there anything that we would be required to do law-wise
or insurance wise.
or insurance-wise? It's something, I would assume there would just be something that would need to be posted.
Or we can just take the sign down and, you know, try to enforce the other one and more, you know, just tell people, hey, you know, use this space, and then it'll give us time to figure out all the details. Just act, so we don't delay, because the reality is people are using, I see a lot of Powell Field, because Powell Field, they think they're hidden.
It's amazing how many dogs go through there.
Yeah, and, I mean, they're using, that is in fact, a dog park, because they're using Powell Field, which I really wish they wouldn't. So if we just take the sign down and start operating, and then we can develop and look into the little, you know, rules, insurance to designate it as a proper dog park.
Maybe put a sign that says at your own risk
Yeah,
type thing.
yeah, we can do that.
Get a bunch of fertilizer, fresh application signs and put them over the fields. That'll keep people and their dogs off for a while, just leave them there all year.
Yeah.
That might not be a bad idea to just put it out, and then when baseball comes and softball comes, they put it off and put it back on.
I think the only problem is when they actually do fertilize, no one's gonna
No
pay
one's gonna
attention.
believe
We'll change the color.
Right.
There's a secret code for the baseball people to know.
Yeah.
The other good thing about that is it's all gravel, so you can kind of see waste, whereas Powell, the grass is actually really good, so.
Right.
Yeah, we had problems years ago when I first got on the commission where people were letting their dog run in the softball fields and they weren't picking up after the dog. And as the grass grew longer, girls weren't seeing it, and then they'd be up there and it was just not.
Not good.
Exactly.
And, yeah,
At the
so,
very least, we can steal a sign from, that says no dogs on T-ball and add that to either Powell or the softball field. So
okay,
at least there's one more sign there saying no dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely need that.
so, and I wouldn't mind maybe we print something really big and put it why we don't allow dogs here. It's for the safety of the children. Maybe they'll deter people, but I don't know. So I think, you know, since they're using, I think if we take the T-ball field, no dogs down. And, you know, socialize the idea, and then we can move forward on looking into all the proper things, creating the dog rules and everything that we're gonna need to do it.
Right, we're gonna have to do it anyway.
Anyways, yeah.
So,
So yeah,
Yes.
see what the use is and see, are people cleaning up, and you know.
Right, we can probably start addressing all those things, yeah. Is that something that we're,
That's very,
Okay.
I mean, it's a problem anyway, so we ought to
Right.
try to find a way to positively address it.
Right, that's the thing.
Well, it would serve a nice purpose though, of maybe transitioning, you know, if we're
Right.
gonna have a dog park down there, maybe invite some people who don't go because they think it's not okay to let their dog run
Right.
on the Little League field, you know,
Right.
maybe it would be like, oh, I actually can go over here, like,
Yeah,
sort of switch the mentality on the people who are following them.
right. And I would make the disclaimer, Tinkerbell walks on the side of the field, she never goes on the field, you know, the little white dog.
Tinkerbell doesn't walk half the time.
She's in her wagon.
I know that too.
I mean,
She
let's
loves
be
her
real.
donkeys.
I love when I'm talking to her and she's like, yeah, I'm going home to give Tinkerbell her medicine. I'm like, really? Like, this is the neediest dog I've ever met.
Anyway, so, is that something that we can ask Chris to move forward with?
Yeah, I would say
Removing
move
the-
that sign over to the other.
Yeah.
This is a second.
I think that's the only action we need to do, and then start circulating the idea with the people that are at Marshall and say, hey, you know, you're welcome to use this here, and, okay. Do we need further discussion on this? And then we should just add to the future agenda, looking dog rules, communicate with Heather about insurance and all these things. And then we can properly designate a dog park.
I know one very quick one, just because I did the regulations for dogs on all the parks properties a few years ago. At some point, you want to modify that policy so that it does allow that field to be used for that, if you're gonna move forward with that.
Yeah,
Also, just one other quick thing, check with Heather to make sure that the insurance company is at least aware, so the town is covered for a dog park.
yeah, that was
Thank
gonna
you.
be one of the actions, okay. All right, next item on the agenda, TJ sent me an email, he's asking for the Little League. And I printed the email, it's the double-sided, and you can't quite see, but they're asking to put a storage container in Marshall. Because they're trying to open, well, TJ, why don't you speak to it?
Sure, yeah, so we've been cleaning out the snack shacks and just trying to get them usable. We used them last year, but it was a lot of maintenance to use the shacks because they're kind of doubling as storage containers. So we have all the field equipment in the shacks, so like field liner, which is the chalk and the dust and what's called game saver, which is another dust to like when the fields are wet, you put that stuff on the fields to sop up the water. So we have that, we have lawnmowers, we have other things in the shacks. So before the games, what we do is we move that stuff out, we clean it out. And we get the shacks ready to sell like candy and soda and chips. And we have volunteers, oftentimes it's the moms, and so we have them go in and I would want them in there if it was that dusty, so like we're cleaning it out pretty well before every game. So it's a lot of extra work to keep these things up and running. And keep it, you know, hospitable to provide that experience as a snack shack.
Is it this little rectangle here?
So what we're trying to do is, the first proposal we had was a storage container, which is very typical baseball, softball, storage container. If you go to Littleton, they have one dead center in their brand new field, like they even fenced it in, which is interesting to me. But it's the same thing. We actually, you can't see it on here, but
I circled and they're passing around.
well, I just want to give one context is I think Anna, you talked to Greg last year, or somebody did, about putting it out in the woods in the back. Which is actually the ideal location because it's away from visibility. It's actually centered between the baseball and softball field, so it's got equal usage. But
That would be up here.
it'd be way up there, yeah. And so like Chris and I talked, and we talked with a bunch of us, we actually called the delivery company. And they said it's gonna be very, very difficult to drive through. There's like a 1-lane road
Yeah.
to get there.
Big boulder in there.
When there's trees and there's overhangs and then the
You
grade
could
in
get
the
a
back.
truck, like a pickup in, no problem, but you start getting a tow truck with an 8-foot tall container.
Storage containers.
Yeah,
Come on, that's doable.
Anything is doable.
So we actually said, Chris, if you wanna do it, we'll watch you and videotape it.
We can sell snacks at that.
So
Exactly.
your second location, would you get?
Yeah, so the second location was, and if to get oriented, this is the parking is at the bottom. And so the parking is at the bottom, the snack shack is that building on the right. So we're thinking about putting it in the middle, which is near. If you haven't been there, there's a batting fence, a batting box, or a pitching box. Next to it, so we're gonna basically put the container alongside the pitching box. And store the central, field equipment, pitching machines, all the stuff we don't
But
want in
that's
the
being
shed.
far from softball.
It's equidistant from both,
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
and that's why, so there are other locations like Chris
Oh,
and I
the
talked
the
about.
one down by the wood, like you said, down the parking lot?
So if we put it at the end of the parking lot, which bottom right
Uh-huh,
would be the other possible location.
yeah,
Then it gets pretty far away from softball, and softball's walking basically the whole parking lot plus all through the woods, so we're trying to keep it central between softball and baseball. There's another option, which is top left on the map, which is, would kind of put it as a problem for baseball, that would be tucked away too. But it's just trying to keep it central for both teams, both to increase the usage, because the further away you put it, they're just gonna keep stuff in the shacks, And for what it's worth, this is shared between us, our league, and the high school. So the high school uses the same equipment and they store all their field liner and all their stuff in these shacks too, so we wanna incentivize them to use it as well.
okay.
Will they use it if it's here?
They should use it,
Okay.
that's the idea.
How large is it?
So the smallest we could get was 8x20 as a shipping container,
Does that work for you guys though?
Yep.
That's an okay size,
Yep.
not too small?
not too small,
What color?
standard container, like dark.
Can come in
dark
different
blue.
colors.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know if Chris brought this up to me, but it's a good point, is it'll be, so for one, all the costs will be on our league. So we'll pay the full cost and everything, but we're gonna make sure it's in good shape, it's not gonna be, none of these come brand new.
Yeah,
So they're all used,
Yeah.
just how it works, but we're gonna make sure it's not rusted, it's not, degraded or whatever, so it'll be in good shape.
okay, lossable.
Have you seen the
All of
condition
them,
of our buildings? I'm not worried.
So,
about what's going on.
I have seen the condition.
TJ, the one thing
4 layers of roofing.
Yes.
Yeah. I asked you, like, once construction starts, which, you have.
Yeah.
Do you think this is still gonna be accessible? How, like?
So I don't, yeah, and that's what
I mean,
Chris,
can that be removed for the construction to start? What is and
Yeah.
my last thought
Yeah.
was one that I think you should meet with Chris afterwards, is to really look at the new plan.
yeah,
And I haven't sent you the link yet. Look at the
Yeah,
new plan, make sure we do have storage that is enough.
exactly, yeah, so I don't know where like the construction zone is gonna be for this next phase, for the first phase.
Right.
Chris was trying to show me like the grading and stuff, but
Right.
I don't know if it's gonna encroach that area, but that area it allows more temporary movement of these.
Okay.
So, like, if it was back in the woods, that's like we're gonna get there and that thing is not moving. If that's like, we had plans of craning it there, like, cause there's a backside for the adult field, we could crane it in. But like, to get it out now, you need a crane again, right? This is right in the parking lot, we could.
You're like really dangerous, like, you feel like the person that I don't want that, like. You're gonna figure out a way to do it. I would never have thought about bringing in a crane to drop it over.
Well, Astro Crane has worked with
I
our league
think
for a
we
long time.
probably hit our match with that crane.
Yeah. Actually, I think the crane was Chris's idea. The crane was Maddie.
Marshall's a good guy.
So I personally have no issue with it. I don't actually care where it goes. I would actually prefer to sort of leave it more open-ended between and let, the league and Chris sort of figure out where the best location for it's gonna be, depending on, this looks fine to me, this looks fine to me, over here looks fine to me, over here looks fine to me. I think wherever the ease of dropping it, the ease of being able to move it and accessibility is what should come into play. But I don't have an issue with it, even if it has a little bit of rust on it, I don't have an issue with it.
It makes sense to have it.
Long term, obviously, I mean, the hope would be that as the Marshall Park
Right.
Right.
sort of plan progresses and so forth, that we're building in aesthetically pleasing storage and useful space for you guys attached to you know, whether it's attached to dugouts or however this, you know, if that evolves. What would the lawn, I mean, you guys are gonna purchase this, so is there a plan to repurpose that somewhere else? Would you move that to another field somewhere or?
I mean, you have one at
Yeah.
Fitzgerald, right?
Yeah, we have one at Fitzgerald
Right.
and at McNally, so, I mean, my goal was if Marshall kicks off and we don't need it, we can sell it back for dirt cheap. And the container company, they have 4 or 5 at a time, so we could just sell it back and it will take the loss of it, but, I mean, we're ready to do that because the gains are more important than the losses, you know? And that's what Anna was talking about with me reviewing the plans, is to make sure it's adequate storage. So I haven't looked at that in depth yet.
Okay,
to my-
that's fine.
to
Yeah,
my
just,
thought,
you know,
I can show you what we have drawn in.
you could turn it into a snack, you could turn it into
but Some, and some, and
turn it into a
some-
snack truck or whatever.
So the other option we have, which we're discussing, is we can rent one of these.
I was gonna, so the only thing I was gonna bring up to you is, you know, are you guys prepared that this is a 1-year investment?
Right,
You know, because there's a great chance that, like, it is going to be a 1-year investment, so,
I know, and that's the trick for us that we were talking about, is the math of the break-even point, right? So if
Right.
it's a 1-year investment and we know that for sure, we will rent for sure, because it'll save us money.
right,
If it's 2 and definitely 3, it becomes, it's more financially feasible to buy it
Yeah.
and then sell it back. But if we know for sure at 1, we should just rent it, right?
yeah.
But
I
we
mean,
have to know, and I know it's like up in the air, so it's.
well, I mean, $1.5 million is not up in the air.
Right.
You know, that's happening, it's the November timeline, but that main section will happen. So,
We still need the storage, so we don't
Right.
get rid of the storage when we.
They might be moving, they might have to move.
Yeah.
We would move
this
it.
location to another.
And in that case, if it's, you know, not central to baseball or softball, it's a transition, so we'll deal with it at that point.
okay,
But we would have to get rid of it only when you guys give us the new storage.
Right, but yeah, in a year's time, they're not gonna have new storage.
right,
Exactly.
so we'll need. to-
Right, and if it's
yeah.
only 2 years to start to get to that point where it doesn't make sense to rent it, then you're not gonna have new storage
You know,
In 1 year,
in 2 years.
Yeah, right.
if it's in good condition, someone will buy that in a heartbeat as a shed.
Yeah,
I know people that have several on the property, there is no issue selling those things, because it's,
Okay.
you know, for $3,500 or so for a 20-footer, you have a watertight shed. Go try and call Reed's Ferry and see what you get for $3,500,
Yeah,
besides a click on the phone.
Or
the
a
athletic
bunker.
director might take it.
yeah, okay.
Or that.
I can't imagine that,
So-
unless there's some ferry that comes along and drops storage, that he wouldn't.
Yeah. Do you want a
Right.
motion on this?
So I think we need
Okay,
we
so-
have in the past done a motion, so if we could have a motion,
So I'll make a motion to allow the Little League to place a storage container at Marshall Park.
have a second?
I'll second. Okay.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Last
Can I
thing,
just ask, does it matter that we're not called the Little League anymore? It technically covers us, but I just want to make sure.
yeah.
What do you, whatever youth
Modify
baseball?
the
Baseball and softball, yeah.
Remotion.
Sorry.
Just.
That's okay, that's okay, I can remotion. I will remotion, or rescind my motion.
Yes.
I'm making a new motion.
Amend your.
I'm making a new motion to allow Lunenburg youth baseball and softball to place a storage container at Marshall Park.
And I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
I still saving
Thank you.
something.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The last thing, that just brought for those guys, and it's not on the agenda, but it was gonna be one of my updates, but since you're here, you guys got donated some exciting picnic tables, because the other ones were like child endangerment, because I remember that from last year.
Yes.
So you guys are all set? How many did you get? It was the Mackeys, right?
Yeah, so we contacted Mackey's, Dana Mackey, he's got a kid in the baseball program. And, very willingly offered us 7 picnic tables,
Okay,
delivered them yesterday. All brand new and, I actually love this, is they engraved the family names on the picnic table, so.
Nice.
Donated by Coleman Mackey, which is the kid, or Katie Mackey,
Nice.
his wife. So we have 7 of those.
That's
We
awesome.
took the worst picnic tables. We put them aside for now. We're actually gonna go process those and throw them in our dumpster, the dangerous ones effectively. And we replaced them with the new
Okay.
ones. And we put one at McNally, which was used yesterday, so.
Yeah, so that was a donation to, the youth baseball, so that's your
Yes.
equipment, that you're managing. And do you need us, like us as in, to help with anything, but it sounds like you guys got it, you're moving them as you need them. You're
Yeah.
probably gonna put some here too, right?
We're not gonna put any,
No, okay,
tables there. We don't need anything from the town. We're
Okay.
gonna end up painting them to make them, weatherproof and try to keep them, updated. I know you and I were talking about like weathering them over the winter.
yeah,
We haven't talked about it as a board, but I'm sure we'll wanna do something with them.
yeah,
I
no,
don't
that's,
know what it would
that's really
be.
nice, okay.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
You guys gonna paint them? For the love of God, do not buy the paint from Home Depot.
Yeah, there.
Spend the money. and get
We're
that.
gonna go to Walmart.
Yeah, oh yeah, Walmart's bare. No, what's Walmart? I don't know. Yeah, I hear you. We'll go to Mackey's maybe.
Yeah, I would make a little
Yeah,
more
probably
sense.
get it from Mackey's. I would get some Ben
Benjamin
Moore
Moore,
or Sherwin-Williams, because the other stuff, they'll be painting it every year.
Yeah, I mean, I already bought Benjamin Moore for the snack shack, so I'll just get the same color.
There you go.
Okay. Does anyone have any other comments for TJ? Okay, I think that's all you had for me, right?
Yeah,
All right,
Yeah.
well,
Can I give one quick update too, that's Martin related?
yeah,
That reminded me. I don't know if the park commission's on the email, but there was an address change for Marshall Park.
We go-
that happened?
That has happened. It may take 6 months for anything to register on Google Maps. But the address before was kind of 835 Mass Ave, which is actually Conrad's.
Right.
So it got people close enough.
I thought the address was on Chestnut Street.
It was,
It was
that's not,
100 Chestnut.
no, on Google Maps was. And when you put the directions when you put the directions on Google Maps, it would bring you to 100 Chestnut Street. When you did it on Apple, it would bring you to the parking lot of St. Boniface.
So it's 855 now.
855 Mass.
8:55 myself.
Woo-hoo.
Well, that was we talked about it and we put a request with Heather and she took care of it. That's exciting that went
It's already
through.
been submitted to the E911 system and all that.
Did you can you let the school, I'll let I'm the clerk, I suppose I can let the school know myself. I'll let the school know. Do you know if Angela updated our side of stuff yet?
I don't
Okay.
know. I didn't actually look at who was copied on the email.
That's fine.
I
can
usually
notify
not. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm happy. That's great.
for what it's worth, Google didn't recognize Fitzgerald Field as Fitzgerald Field.
It's not, it's Ben Norman Park.
I filed it for Fitzgerald 2 years ago, so we're good.
But
But
it's
it
going
was
in now.
something else. It was.
Yeah, it's Ben Norman Park it's like a longer name.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
long name, yeah.
Maybe you can do file the same thing with Google for
Marshall?
Marshall,
I can look,
855.
yeah. Let's see how.
Because I was gonna do that, but it sounds like you know how to.
Yeah. Yep, I do.
There you go. That's perfect. Awesome. All right. Well,
Cool.
thank you. That's,
good?
yeah, that's
Thank you.
all.
Thank you.
Then
TJ.
Appreciate it.
we have one more thing for Chris and I'll let you go.
You did it?
Town
Thanks,
Beach Health
TJ.
Board, so we did the demolition.
Yep.
And where we are with the next step.
So we just pulled the dumpster just because leaving a dumpster out, you know how that goes.
Yes.
It's filled up. I need to get over there, gonna try and do it this week, and my initial estimate of plywood, I may have to change the thicknesses, because I assumed
Yeah.
the thickness of plywood would be good for the whole thing, but some of the rooms have different heights, so there might be some
Some more
transition.
rotting than others.
Yeah, and the rotting will be okay, because the ply will take out the rot and the ply will cover it. I'm just trying to figure out the best way, transition wise, into the bathrooms.
Yeah.
You know. The goal is to keep it as minimal as possible, so people aren't tripping and all that.
Mhm.
But I just need to the original plan was all 1/2 inch plywood and then floor over it. And it may be 3/4 here and 1/2 inch here and
Yeah.
3/8 over there. So I have to go and get a better measurement of it, but, we do
It's like my
appreciate.
house.
Right, yeah.
Right, I mean, those of us in an old house, we
Yeah.
understand that you
Yes.
drop a marble at one end, it, goes.
Oh,
You missed the fun of that day, when we thought that the subfloor was, it originally started coming out in like, what, 2 by 2 inch pieces? And we thought the entire floor was gonna be done that way, and then TJ came in and saved the day, thank God.
Yes.
I think we'd probably still be down there if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
And we were able to get some bigger pieces out, but and then they used the nails that they use were the spiral nails.
Oh, there we
God
go,
help
yeah.
me, those don't come out.
Yeah.
It was not pretty.
Anyone didn't
It
try?
was not pretty.
We ended up having to just break them all off.
It works.
So what's the next steps for you and for volunteers?
So, I get out there this week and get the rest of the stock list, get the plywood ordered. And then I think I actually have another guy coming on in the facilities department next week. So I think the best thing liability wise is if we get the plywood down, only because volunteers and saws and insurance companies may not go all that well together.
We're totally okay with that.
But the,
That happens.
when
at
it
the
comes time to put
building
the actual
includes-
flooring down,
Okay.
the vinyl plank flooring, once it's laid out, you cut it with a razor knife.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. So I think we're gonna have our staff get the plywood down and then we'll talk to you guys. at
Do we need
recess.
to come back in and pull out the trim boards?
It would be helpful if the
Okay.
trim boards were pulled, but if not, we'll make it work.
Okay.
There was some moisture that we saw on that.
Yeah, it was when you first walk into the left.
I saw that,
Below that half window there, yeah.
We couldn't figure out where it was coming from, so.
that's why I wanted to let it dry a little bit. I mean, there's been a carpet in a beach house for how many years? That
Way
just
too long.
holds moisture and they used to pull the buoys right out of the water across the beach and into the beach house and let it sit on the carpet all winter. So we're not allowing that to happen anymore. We actually put hooks in the basement so you can pull it right out of the water and hang it. So it can actually dry. If it's still wet and there's leaking, we'll have to find it and patch it.
But there was nothing on the, nothing looking as though it was coming through the ceiling.
Yeah, there's no plumbing.
It seemed like it was all from the,
The refrigerator was right behind it, is my concern.
oh.
Yeah.
If when they unplugged the refrigerator, maybe it was iced up on the backside.
Mm,
It just went through it, so.
Okay, maybe.
That's the only thing I could think of, is like you said, there's nothing else around it.
Right.
But the fridge was backed up.
Does have plumbing,
Okay,
there's no.
then, yeah, could be.
Okay, so in terms of timeline, do you think,
That's a fantastic question. I'll get the stock list together this week and. Quick. My new guy is starting on the 29th, and he's gonna take a couple days to get up and going, so maybe the week of May 6th, we'll probably try and get out there and
okay,
start putting something down. I would prefer not to be up against the clock with the beach opening.
right, that's what I'm thinking.
And when does the beach open up?
It's usually like, well, last year we opened in the beginning, we had kind of had soft opening on the weekend to just get things going, I think in June.
Yeah.
But we go full-time after school's out.
And school gets out
Okay.
early this year.
At end of school.
Oh, that's right,
Yes, because
so,
we don't
yeah.
have any snow.
There was only one snow day.
One snow
And it
day.
was
In April.
So I heard June
June
15th.
12th, June 12th.
Is it-
Yeah, it was, now it's June
So-
13th.
Do you know if Angela ended up going down with Liz?
I do not know.
Okay.
I know she was trying to set it up, I just don't know. if-
Okay, there was a lot of stuff that needed to be purged, so we did
Yes.
so. I just wanted to get an idea of what,
We need to reorder.
well, not even reordered, because some of the stuff I don't think is gonna be reordered. For example, there was a rickety table that was in in one of the back rooms that they were using as like a break room table. I have a table that can have. The filing cabinet was rusty, so that went, and I'm sure we can find that somewhere. If not, I don't even mind going out to buy them a new one. I just wanna make sure we have enough time to get them what they need. And then we need to figure out, whether it be one of those plastic folding tables. I think we actually have one from a few years ago, or a new picnic table, but that picnic table did make its way into the dumpster.
That's a wonderful thing.
They couldn't get it apart, but it got into the
Yep, we carried
dumpster.
it.
They carried it out. It try as they might, that thing was
Kind
not
of keep
gonna,
half apart.
yeah.
We could,
Should have brought a saw.
there's other picnic tables on the other side that are stacked on the side.
Yeah.
too.
So we need to figure out a plan for those two, because having those stacked there makes absolutely no
Yeah.
sense. They're two nice tables.
And now that we got it cleaned out there, we can actually use that space.
Okay.
You know, Angela was trying to come up with some sort of like sunset yoga on the beach over there
Mm,
as a program, so.
Okay. Yeah, just would be nice so that when they go in, they're not. The stuff that they need, I would like to just make sure that they have in terms of that kind of stuff.
I think that's all. Well, does anybody have any other questions or comments for Chris?
Not that I can think of.
Or, right, I know he has a toddler at home and another one on the way, so.
Yep, it's probably screaming about wanting to watch Frozen right now, so.
For the 20th time.
Just let it go.
I've watched enough now already.
That's good.
That's
perfect.
Thanks, Chris.
So, the next item, the disposition of park equipment process. So Karen asked me about, what's our process for,
One more thing that David just reminded me, sorry to interrupt.
well, definitely.
The school's releasing the truck again tomorrow at the beach.
Oh, that's awesome.
Johnny Appleseed kids.
Nice.
It goes in my calendar to let him in, I just figured I'd mention it on my.
Yeah, that's great. Well,
Front
thanks for
release tomorrow.
arranging. We don't have to get involved. So, disposition of equipment, and I reached out to Heather. And she is actually drafting a policy because by state law, the town needs to have a policy. And I think it's usually referred to as surplus equipment. And the policy that she's drafting is going to be for the town. And because it's for equipment, is Mass General Law.
Yeah.
Chapter 30B, and the policy is pretty much going to be the law. And it's going to be, says, in the process of drafting dispose of surplus property, and applies to all surplus property as this is required under chapter 30B. If the value is less than $10,000, then we just offer to another department first, and then it is disposed through an online auction. We use Municibid, which is.
Munibid, yeah.
Munibid,
Yeah, it works really well.
So if it's, I actually talked with her, if it's something that, let's say like a playground equipment and they put it there for, it's a bidding thing, so if someone puts $10, they would have it.
Mhm.
And I think, if there's no bids, then the policy will be to just dispose it at that point. There won't be any opportunity for taking, after, so she wants to stick with the process.
So you're saying under $10,000, that's a process, but is there a minimum for that? I
No,
mean, typically, communities establish a minimum, like if it's $500 or less, just, it doesn't matter how you get rid of it. She didn't
it
set that,
doesn't seem like, because she actually used Facebook Marketplace as an example of things might go. So she said there's no really cost associated with putting up there. And so her plan is to just make it that everything is going to.
some value no matter what, $1 doesn't matter.
It
Okay.
is properly disposed under the law,
Okay.
according to her. And if there's no bids, then it will go to just recycling, like some kind of but there won't be,
The most cost-effective disposal.
right, it won't be given to a person, it will just be
Yeah.
through the process. And that way it's nice and clear, but anyway, she's working on that, and if anyone has any insights, like have a mailing, actually, I like it because I think like with the Marshall Park playground, I don't know if there'll be a real value, but by having a process where someone can go there and offer $5 for the sentimental value that they have, and they have the opportunity to keep it, gives people the opportunity to do that, and it's, fair to everyone.
And who will process all that?
So then it will be the departments, and, in our case, it would be Chris.
You're gonna get into a bidding war with somebody, aren't you?
Yep.
So,
I just need to know when it goes up, that's all.
You know what, I used to check the Municipal bid page quite often, and I stopped doing that, I should probably start checking it more. Cool stuff.
the next item on the agenda is the Earth Day celebrations update. I know a lot of events happened. Colleen, do you
know
want
if
to
it-
speak?
I
Just 'cause
don't
we're-
have, the total numbers, because there were a couple of trail ones, that Mary was in charge of too. I mean, it must have been like, I think there were somewhere around 8 or 10 events. The National Honor Society one did
Yeah,
happen, like, I think, the end of March.
yeah.
But they had a huge turnout.
That's awesome.
You know, cause they needed to, but my kid was there. But, I think they were all really well attended. There's
awesome.
pictures of all of them. Are you the only one that weighed your trash?
Yeah.
I mean, what did you have, 124?
124 pounds of trash
Wow.
off the Highlands and Holland
Is
Street,
it-
and someone's actual bag of trash that was left on Northfield. Like, as we were going down, we went from Holman, and I was like, oh, we have time, let's go, we'll go off of home, we went up Northfield towards Gilcrest. Cause that stretch, when people come down that hill, everything just goes out the window. And then as we came around the corner, I was like, oh, look, there's an actual bag of trash.
Bag of
From a
trash.
distance, it looked like maybe a McDonald's bag or something, and we got there, it was actually someone's
Household
white
trash.
plastic, you know,
Trash.
10-gallon, whatever trash bag.
Yeah.
No names in it?
There was like a prescription mark from Boston, and there was all kind of, was like, it's, I mean, I was
Jeez.
like, it wasn't, I saw nothing that said like, this is someone's in
Yeah.
Lunenburg, cause,
Yeah.
you know, maybe I would have dropped it off.
Right, oh, you left this on Northfield.
Sorry, you left this on, yeah, you left this on Northfield.
Just
Uh,
returning it to you.
But, there is someone that really likes Smirnoff green apple nips.
Oh, the nips were
Um,
everywhere.
And they actually buy them by the case. So we were finding the cardboard,
The box that they gave.
the box that the 12 come in, and then all the 12 nip
Wow.
buttons, several. That's one little section in Northfield, or Holman Street. But yeah, we had.
The Boys and Girls- The Boys and Girls Club was gonna do, Wallace, and it was supposed to be Saturday, so they,
Rain.
postponed because of the rain, so they're gonna reschedule that, but I don't know when. But everything, I think all the other ones went off as planned. We
Yeah.
had great support from the police.
I know,
It was awesome that they,
yeah,
Really awesome.
they volunteered. They also set up cones to make sure that there were safe
Yep.
roadways and,
wow.
yeah, it was really good.
You know, it's so cool to see the community, like, creating a way for the community to participate in is just more and more, and, I love that.
I guess the
That's
most
great.
successful series of events we've had to date, I think, that I can remember anyway.
Yeah,
I think so. Okay.
and it's people working, you know, it's great. No, I love it. Well, thank you, Colleen, for organizing. Thank Anita for volunteering. Thank you, Chris, for volunteering. And, when I did the pound, and there was a
Yeah, thank
freshly,
you.
there we go, there was a freshly killed, beaver that we found the bones and the head, like, of a beaver. And the most unpleasant part was the gut, it was fresh. And so I just kicked it to the side and, you know, but the next day, a little girl saw the hand of the beaver and thought it was human, and she
Oh.
called the police, and she
Oh,
was very
no.
shocked, and I felt so bad for her. Anyway, but one thing it's interesting, I am seeing a lot of people sitting by that little picnic bench, and using that space there, so cleaning and making inviting,
Yeah.
it does create more foot traffic,
Who
so.
put that table out?
Oh, it was the Dayton to the Parks Commission a few years, 2 years ago, I
Okay.
think.
Nice.
So then we just put it out. But yeah,
Oh, and, Officer Zarette, gave me a fantastic photo that he took of the pond there. And he sent it to me. I think it'd be really cool to put on the website somewhere.
oh, yeah, so you can send it to Kara. I'll put you, there is someone who managed the town website.
Okay, yeah, if you could send me that information, I'll
Yeah.
send it along, because it was a beautiful photograph.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
yeah, and that photo of you with Mary and, you know, town center.
Oh, it was a fun group. We had such a ball doing that.
That's great. All right, NAJ process, NA Jazz project,
There is one student so far that's interested.
oh, that's
So working
wonderful.
on connecting with,
The historical society.
with that individual, and we'll get them lined up with how the historical society works, and
Yeah,
kind of give them a little guidance that way.
that's
So,
wonderful, thank you.
keep close to it now.
Have we had a lot of, contact from NHS students looking for hours?
Now
Okay, I've had one, and I actually had her do paperwork for us, like go through our minutes and like do motions and stuff. I'm wondering if we should try to like look for a dedicated NHS student next year who could,
Oh, that's a good idea.
They can only get 6 hours
per thing.
per, yeah. So
Really?
you can do that, but they can only get 6 hours from one place.
How many total do we need?
Person, they need 12, but they can only get 6.
So we could get one
Like they
person?
need 12 each semester, so they
So we
need
could grab
24.
one person for the fall and one person.
Yes, and
for
you could
summer?
get 6 hours, or you could get 2 people and get 12 hours from them in the fall and from, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think we need
2
12,
kids
but.
could, but,
Okay.
That's,
Yeah.
that's a great idea. We should definitely keep that.
So it's not 6 hours per semester, it's 6 hours total.
it's 6 hours per semester from one.
Okay, so we can do 12 in a year.
6 hours.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, so they could stay on
Per
and do.
assignment.
Oh, okay, so they could,
Yeah, I think they could stay on and do it from the same.
yeah, I can't imagine more than an hour a month, but,
Right.
you know.
It's good to know that there's limits and we can work within, okay.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. The next one is update on Lake Shirley parcels, an agreement with Shady Point that, I reached out to Michael Ray and he said that the agreement is actually with town council. And I guess they're reviewing it, so that's moving forward. I was hoping that, that would go live this summer. So the next item on the agenda is the commission reorganization. So usually this happens on our May meeting. So this is just 1 month ahead, and so anyway.
She's done, that's what she's trying to say.
Yeah, so we're just doing this 1 month ahead. I think we're in a good point for it, where we are with different process, so there's no reason to. Anyway, so I just appreciate, it's been exciting to be chair for the past 2 years. It's been 2 years only, right? I think so.
It's been a long 2 years, but yes. 2 years.
Yeah, well, we,
The average meeting time has dropped, but I will say that.
right.
I'm not so sure about that. I think if it's dropped when we got in person, if you look at online before that, she had some doozies.
So anyway, it's been great, but I cannot continue doing, so, I did ask Anita if she would be interested. She said not really, but I kept talking. So if you guys have any comments or, I would like to make a motion to ask Anita to be our next chair.
So moved.
Right, do we need a discussion?
No. You ready for this?
That's what I used to do for a living, so I guess I can do.
Why you're perfect.
Right, all right,
I'll second that and then.
all right, all those in favor? Aye. Oh, thank you, Anita. And then we need a vice chair, and, Chris has offered many years, Karen, so we're left with Colleen to be her.
We're left with Colleen.
And I said no, and you kept talking.
I know.
There's a theme.
That is.
We can support each other.
Right, we can support each other in,
You want me to pull the fire alarm?
I know, exactly, we live very close to your house.
I know. So I'd like to make a motion to, Colleen as our next vice chair,
So moved.
and any
Second.
discussion?
I'm sorry.
All right,
Second.
second, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, so I am officially not the chair anymore. Would you like to finish the meeting? Would you
Does
like
this
me
mean
to
that I'm
finish?
stuck with clerk?
I think you need to
Since
finish
you're
this
not
meeting,
addressing it?
technically.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I
should
didn't
be.
know that.
Yes.
I'm chair of the next meeting.
Oh, I would like to make an appointment to Karen Menardez, our next clerk.
Me, she just is going with it.
Well, she was just.
Well, you'll say no, and she'll keep talking, and
Yeah.
you'll say yes.
So, Karen Menardez, our next clerk, as a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Uh,
Aye. There you go, Karen actually said aye, yeah, I know, so that's unanimous. Okay, so I guess technically I have to finish the meeting.
Yes.
Yes, please.
We did that. Committee updates, we have not had an open space meeting. And Karen, do you have
So master planning, we did meet earlier this month or last month or earlier this month. We do have another meeting possibly next week. There's a survey that's coming out. We're hoping to have it done for town meeting, but they did it a little bit differently. This time they, Over Under, who's the company that is working with us, they put the survey together and then they sent it to all the members of the, open space, of the master planning, and let us go through it and sort of ask questions in there or say, we like this or don't like this. And then they compiled it, and there must have been enough concern that they're like, oh, this needs some pretty big edits. So they're trying to get a meeting together next week so that something will be ready for town meeting, because that's the plan, is to be able to have a survey out at town meeting, have somebody there, to answer any questions. So, but yeah, that's sort of where we are.
Okay, that's good. So that's it. For the only chair update that I have is this morning, Heather sent the revenue turnover policy. And basically, this is a draft that the select board will be voting on. And it's just a policy on what happens when cash comes in, I guess. And they didn't vote on yesterday because they wanted our feedback, but they're not waiting for a long time. So I can forward it to you all and as a digital copy, but if you have any feedback, I'm gonna suggest that we just send directly to Heather, because we won't meet before, and she can collectively take our feedback and do any edits that she finds appropriate, relevant. At the end of the day, it's not our policy, is one that is by the select board and voted on by the select board. And this does affect us, especially with the, our programs that Angela runs.
Right.
The rental of the facilities, and also Town Beach, the memberships, the day, and even the day passes that are sold there, that we take cash. So,
I'm thrilled that they're doing this. It helps our bond rating to have a really strong financial policy that includes this revenue turnover. So it's good that we're doing it, or, I mean, we probably had it, but she's probably updating it. I'll take a quick look at it, but it's, it's constantly referring to Mass General Law, which is appropriate. So it
Right.
seems like it's right on target.
okay. Yeah, the only concern I would have, and I haven't read it because it came this morning, is if there's anything that will change and make the operations of these programs more difficult than it needs to be.
Just the initial sort of, let me just make sure Angela's aware of it, because of this. There's guidelines about when receipts can be turned in and so forth, and
Okay.
some are same day or daily, and then others are within 48 hours, so.
But I would have to guess that it probably mimics what we already have in place. But it's good to double check.
Okay, I'll make a note.
There's no policy, that's why this is being done.
But no common practice that's been established that's similar?
Well, yes, but I'll just give you a very quick. The concern is that there's been so much turnover in town that what people did for many years have not carried through
Got it.
well.
Okay.
Do we have any minutes to approve?
Yes, I sent them out yesterday.
Okay, I did not see them, but if you guys read and are comfortable, we can. Okay, so we have 3 people that read.
So I have read them.
Should we read them?
Does anybody have any changes on the first one, which is January? That's the one that's more concerning to me. Sometimes, so we have a great minutes taker, but sometimes the way she summarizes, I just want to make sure that the way that it's written is how everybody wants it.
I don't think I got that email from you yesterday.
I sent one
File
yesterday
it there.
with the file share.
You did do,
Oh.
I noticed it came through, but I just didn't read it.
That's
Can
fine.
we delay this till the next meeting?
I don't
Is it-
care. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. Okay, so that gets postponed. Other business that may come before the board, I don't have anything. Does anybody have anything? Okay, public comment. You have anything?
I've got nothing and no update on, the Marshall project.
I do want to say on the minutes, though, there's gonna be there's 2 sets that our minutes taker is working on. So I expect to be putting those into the drive, hopefully sooner than usually I do it about 2 days prior, just because that's when it comes to us.
Mhm.
She's working on them now, so I'm hoping that she's got them, sooner. And as soon as they come in, I'll upload that. Do you have the digital files from NV5 and Skanska?
Yes.
Okay, so I think those need to be added to the minutes. She asked for them. I told her not to worry about that part, that I would get them added. And we never received anything from Atlantic, correct?
We did afterwards, I think, we did.
Did they-
Their presentation.
Did they
like,
send you their presentation? I don't remember seeing it, so.
Somebody handed off a flash drive, I don't remember.
That
Yeah,
was,
so we
yeah,
got-
Did.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think we have, I have a folder that I thought I had shared, but,
okay,
I'll reshare, I'll make it, let's review. And share.
Right, it was
Digital
Atlantic
docs.
that didn't have.
yeah,
it
so
had
I
brought
don't,
it with them.
But they said they were gonna send it
Yeah,
along.
It's-
right.
minutes are really hard when you have presentations like that, so
Right.
if she can just basically put Skanska presented, and then
I'm gonna
attach
the
documents.
See
presentation.
attached.
Yeah, it would make life much easier
It
on,
was all of the same folder as the digital files for their initial proposal. Everything is in one big folder, but I'll reshare it so that you have.
I don't remember seeing it, but,
Okay,
okay.
all right, and with that, any public comment from the board?
Meeting dates, just give me-
Oh, meeting dates. Oh, Anita, when would you like to have the next meeting?
So I assume we're continuing on the third Wednesday of the month?
It's up to you.
I don't have a
And the rest
calendar.
of
in
the
front of
It would be
members
the
of just-
15th, because the May 1st is a Wednesday, so then the third Wednesday of May would be May 15th.
May 15th, does that work for everybody?
Hold on. Yes,
At this moment, it does.
And 7 continues to be a good time for everybody?
it does. I'll connect with you afterwards and tell you how we pull this off.
Yeah, because that's one of the things, it's like, when I was a town administrator, it was pre-COVID and didn't have all these regulations in terms of having live broadcasts and,
Yeah.
recording everything.
Yeah, it's just it's going to the right people, and I think we have it down pretty good right now with how I'm doing it with everybody, so
Okay.
it's working. But I'll give you a lowdown on.
Thanks.
On how that works, and then she's been submitting the agendas directly.
She
but I'll-
has done agendas, but I started like, I'm very last minute, that's, we've seen it, so I submit.
Oh, yeah, so we can figure
As
that.
long
out.
as I know who to submit it to and.
Yeah, great, I can get that to you.
Yeah.
And that will be, we'll have a conversation on that one too, because it can
Okay.
be sort of finicky at times.
Okay,
The
thanks.
only one thing that I'll say is, they are very, like, as they should be strict about when they receive it, and we are closed on
Yeah.
Black Fridays.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can submit revised agenda the same day, like this morning, I wanted to
Oh,
add,
interesting, okay.
yeah, so it gives you a tool to, like, I've seen some people are organized, like the finance committee, they actually submit all their agenda, with pretty much nothing on it. Like
Sort
months
of,
ahead.
yeah, there's more,
Basics.
there's more to it than that, but technically, and don't ask how I know this, per open meeting law, even making revisions, they're supposed to be on things that you didn't know outside of that
Right,
48-hour period,
exactly.
so, finance committee was just having trouble getting their agendas to them in time, and then they weren't able to hold their meetings, so,
Mm.
yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, the thing that I added is usually things that come up, but, anyway, I'll be happy, yes, so I'll.
We can figure it out.
It's like, I thought I was beyond all this stuff. but-
But again, you said no, and you just kept talking.
I just volunteered.
No, I think it's going to be really exciting times, like it's it's really exciting what's ahead.
Walk Anita's home,
Don't you dare.
Colleen next.
All right, with that, I'm taking a motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn at 8:08 PM.
Second.
and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you, and that's an hour and 8-minute meeting.